Peppa Pig is a show with hundreds of characters, and unfortunately, some of them just disappeared. Do you remember or even know about Peppa's relatives and friends who vanished from the map? Grandma Rabbit. One of the characters we still haven't met is Grandma Rabbit. She's Grandpa Rabbit's wife and also the mother of the thousands of Miss Rabbits that exist in the world. And we actually know where she is. No, this character didn't die. In fact, she's probably living on the moon. That explains the real reason Grandpa Rabbit owns a rocket. He has the ability to travel to the moon because sometimes this character has to go visit his wife. But then the question comes up, why on earth is Rebecca's grandma living in space? The answer is simple. Of course, Grandma Rabbit is just as much of a crazy scientist as her husband. Otherwise, she wouldn't have married him, right? On top of that, we know that in the episode Space Adventure, Grandpa Rabbit takes Grandma Pig, Grandma Gazelle, and Grandma Dog to the moon, which means, for sure, they must all be friends with his wife. She's probably working on some super secret scientific experiment, and that's why we haven't met this character yet. Of course, in the future, she'll show up, but until then, you better grab your popcorn because another Cinewave is starting. Grandpa Sheep. A relative who never showed up in the series is Susie's grandpa. This character still hasn't appeared because in reality, he's a pirate who's on the run from the police. Yes, this is really happening, and if you don't believe it, here's the proof. First, Susie's grandma is a character who knows the whole world, and in the episode where she moves into the little sheep's house, Grandma brings several treasures like rugs from Morocco, teapots from China, and many other valuables. It's almost as if this character went around collecting treasures. But what does that have to do with Grandpa Rabbit? That's when something strange starts to happen. In the Peppa Pig universe, some characters have a connection with the ocean, and they are Grandpa Rabbit, Grandpa Pig, Grandpa Dog, and his son Captain Dog, who's Danny Dog's dad. We know this because all these characters either have boats or wear hats with ship's anchors on them. But there's another character who's connected to the sea, and that's Susie. In the episode The Future, the little sheep is wearing pajamas with an anchor on them, and that's why we know her grandpa must be a pirate. Susie is probably wearing one of her grandpa's old clothes to sleep in, and if you still have doubts, it's simple. In Peppa's universe, only grandpas and dads are connected to the sea, not grandmas and moms. Meaning, Susie only has pajamas with an anchor on them because of one of her relatives, and it can only be her grandpa. Will this character ever end up appearing in the show? We'll find out in the next episodes. Grandpa Pig. Grandpa Pig is also a relative who disappeared, but we're not talking about the character you're thinking of. In this case, the Grandpa Pig we need to meet is Daddy Pig's father, who has never been in the series. Peppa and George only know their maternal grandparents, and that's why for over 20 years everybody has been waiting to meet Daddy Pig's side of the family. But sadly, that's not going to happen when it comes to the other Grandpa Pig. The reason is sad, but everyone already suspected it. He was eaten. Yes, everyone was already coming up with theories about what happened to Daddy Pig's family, but the truth is the wolves made a meal out of him. In the episode New House, Mr. Wolf made it very clear that his desire was to eat Daddy Pig's flesh. And unfortunately, that wasn't the only time this character hinted at doing that. In the episode where the two of them are crossing a river, Mr. Wolf looks directly at Daddy Pig and says he's very hungry. There's proof that Peppa's family is in great danger because there are other characters who attack them. And if Daddy Pig is a big guy who draws predators' attention, of course it would be no different with the other Grandpa Pig. Could it have been Mr. Wolf's father who fed on him? Grandma Pig. Another thing we don't know is, where did the other Grandma Pig go? Could she have also been eaten? It's possible, but there are other theories about it. She's missing and probably living somewhere safe after her husband was attacked by the wolves, but how do we know that? Well, let's look at a detail that almost nobody pays attention to. Have you noticed that the only pigs in the series are from Peppa's family? And that's pretty strange, since for other animals this rule doesn't apply. We've already seen, for example, some rabbits who aren't related to Rebecca, at least the series never confirmed that they were. Peppa has already traveled to several countries, and still no one has ever seen other pigs. That makes us think that maybe only Peppa's family exists. But at the same time, that can't be true, because for a family to exist, there need to be people coming from different groups. In other words, somewhere the series hasn't shown us yet, there must be other pigs. But wouldn't it be better if the other Grandma Pig just lived with Peppa? Would you like to live with the little pig? Comment #pig so we can get to know each other. Aunt Dottie. Still talking about Peppa's family, we need to bring up Aunt Dottie. She's a huge mystery in the series, since she's been missing for over 20 years and nobody has any news about her. Since the show first aired on TV, we've known that there's an aunt who lives in another country and that her name is Dottie. She even sent a toy to her nieces and nephews in the episode Horsey Twinkletoes. But this character only appeared in one episode years later to celebrate Thanksgiving, which means she lives in the United States. But it's weird because Peppa and her family already traveled to America and never visited Mommy Pig's sister. And that's another strange thing because Peppa's mom never said she had a sister, and neither did Peppa's grandparents ever say they had another daughter. So Aunt Dottie is a character who's a part of the family, but nobody talks about her or remembers her, and they don't even visit her. Could this be proof that they don't get along? Let's hope the series talks a little bit more about Aunt Dottie in the next season. The Queen. The Queen is a character who doesn't appear much in Peppa Pig, but we know the story takes place in England, and that's why the creators of the show decided to create a character that represents Queen Elizabeth. We meet this character in the episode where Peppa's class goes to visit the head of the country, and one thing felt really strange in that story: the fact that the Queen lives completely alone. She doesn't have any relatives, and when Peppa enters the castle, we find out the place is completely empty and that only the Queen is there. And that's honestly one of the strangest things in all of Peppa's history. Where are the Queen's children and grandchildren? If they exist, why do they let her live alone? These are questions everybody has been asking since the show first aired on TV. Daddy Sheep. Susie's dad is also a character who's missing and has never even been mentioned in the series. In fact, we've never even seen a male sheep in the show. Susie's dad is probably very sick, and the clue about this is the fact that the little sheep dreams of being a nurse, and she says in the episode The Hospital that sick people sleep a lot. She also says that her other dream is to fly airplanes while being a nurse. It feels like this is her way of trying to be somewhere else, and theories say it's because her dad is ill. Will he ever appear someday? We'll find out in the next season. Mr. Gazelle. Do you remember the episode where Peppa goes to visit Madame Gazelle, and in the back of the classroom there's a picture of a character who's definitely the teacher's husband? That character is Mr. Gazelle, and he never appeared in the series outside of the photos. Plus, we know there's also a portrait of him hanging on the wall at the city's museum. So that means this character is someone important. And as everyone already knows, Madame Gazelle is rumored to be a vampire. On top of that, both in the photo and in the museum portrait, Mr. Gazelle is wearing very old-fashioned clothes from more than 100 years ago. Could he be a vampire too? Maybe Madame Gazelle's husband is sleeping inside a coffin, just waiting for the right time to wake up. And now is the time for you to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Claire Cow. Claire Cow is a character the same age as Peppa, but she doesn't go to the same school as the little pig. She shows up in the play that Madame Gazelle takes her students to. This character is also known for being Mrs. Cow's daughter, since the two of them are seen together several times, like in the episode when they go to London. But this character didn't show up at her own mother's wedding, and we think it's because she now lives in the United States. She's in New York in the episode where Peppa and her family visit Times Square. Claire Cow shows up behind a bus. It's a quick scene, but the show's creators put it there to show where the character lives. Will she ever actually meet Peppa in person? Mrs. Fox. Freddy's mom, Mrs. Fox, is a character who sadly disappeared. She's a nurse at the hospital and takes care of Pedro Pony when he gets sick, but this character almost never appears in the show. And we believe that's because she was arrested. Yes, everyone knows Freddy's dad is a thief, and of course his wife knows about it too. The police might be investigating the Fox family, and maybe they even found reasons to arrest her. Could that really be true? Let's hope not, because Freddy would be heartbroken. But what do you think? Grandpa Elephant. Could Emily Elephant's grandpa be dead? In the episode Moving Day, we find out that Grandma Elephant lives in the same building as the Fox family downtown. She's also neighbors with the Panda family. This character has Emily and Edmund as her grandchildren, but she lives alone. Does that mean Grandpa Elephant isn't alive anymore? That would be such a shame, but maybe one day he'll show up in the series. Grandma Dog. Grandma Dog is a character who's really good friends with Grandma Pig. The two of them even pretend to be Vikings together, but this character almost never shows up in the series. Does that mean she's sick? Or maybe Peppa's grandma's friend decided to go on a trip and just hasn't come back yet. Whatever the truth may be, she's still missing. But don't go anywhere, we've picked out 2 more videos for everyone to enjoy. We'll see you in the next one. See you soon!